Thanks for watching. This is part 2 of the competition results of a competition that was being held, organized by myself, MyMiniFactory and Snapmaker on the MyMiniFactory website, where you guys have showed off what you do 3D printing wise to enhance your RC vehicles. MyMiniFactory is an online library where you can buy 3D printable files, like for example what I have over here. This is a full dashboard for your Element RC Night Runner, for example. This is made by Night Customs. MyMiniFactory sells the file and then you can print it at home. It's as simple as that. So it's just really high quality, high-end files that won't cause you any headaches, that you can just go print at home, install in your vehicle and look way cooler, of course, out on the trails. The machine that I'm printing on, it's also the machines that we're giving away. We're giving away 3 machines. I gave one away last week, giving one away this week to the second prize winner, and I'm giving one away next week to the first prize winner. But we got so many entries in people showing off what they did that I hacked it up in 3 videos. A Snapmaker is a 3-in-1 machine, so it's a 3D printer, it is a laser engraver, it's also a CNC machine, so it's very versatile, almost a tool that you really need to have in your RC shop if you want to have it a bit easier and if you want to really make a ton of cool stuff. I've been having a ton of fun with my Snapmaker, and I hope that those who win a Snapmaker will also have a ton of fun with theirs. If you want to read more about it, whether that be about MyMiniFactory or Snapmaker, go check out the links below. Let's dive right into it and see what you guys have sent in. This week's topic is going to be themed builds. So there were a lot of people who actually had a full theme going on for their trail truck or for their ride, and I want to highlight a few of those before I show you who won the second prize in this competition. Our first honorable mention of this week is, and forgive me if I'm going to butcher your name, Masij Tikwinski. I'm guessing you're from Poland, and Masij has entered with a really cool looking military style truck. This is a replica of a GAZ or a GAZ-66, which is a Russian Soviet military truck. And Masij, he says, this is a full 110 scale truck based on an SE Extend version 1 platform, 3D printed cab, 3D printed bed, and he has even 3D printed those beadlock rims. Really nice looking truck. You can also see browsing through the pictures, which are, I'm imagining these are taken at the Polish Off-Mania off-road event, an RC event, which is being organized every year by a couple of RC enthusiasts over in Poland. And you can just see as the truck gets dirtier and grimier, it starts to look better and better and better. Really looks right at home out on those trails. Thank you so much for showcasing this. Our second honorable mention is Hendrikus Pluim, and Hendrikus has built a truck which looks super recognizable. He has also documented the entire process, so if you want to check that out, then do make sure that you have a look at his entry on the side of MyMiniFactory. He writes me, this is a Cross MC8 fully built truck to copy the Mad Max Doof wagon. It has working drummers that move on the beat, and it has a 5.1 PC surround set. It also has a real flamethrower guitar which works on lighter gas. That's absolutely insane. All of the fake speakers and the small details were almost a year of printing and building, and it truly shows. There's so much detail and there's so much stuff to look at. This thing is really a head turner. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Doof wagon, where they basically have this guitar dude strapped in and playing the guitar, and he is strapped to the front of a truck which is covered in speakers. I'll make sure to insert a tiny clip so you can look at it. And I think that Hendrikus did a great job capturing the essence of that whole Mad Max Fury Road movie in this truck. Next up is Ryan Rytek Kozart. While we are at the Mad Max Fury Road theme, Ryan has also printed something that really would not look out of place in one of those movies. I see smokestacks, I see a ton of stuff. Let's see what he writes me. Ryan says, this is the 8x8x8 crawler. It's an Exceed Matt Torque 8x8 crawler, 1/8 scale, that he 3D printed a body for a couple of years ago. This project is what inspired him to get a 3D printer in the first place. He no longer owns the truck, but it sure was fun designing and printing his very first large 3D printed project. I would almost say that it's a shame that you no longer own this truck, because it looks like a really fun truck to own. Thank you so much for sending this in, Ryan, and showing it to us. Seeing another Fury Road build in this list of honorable mentions, I think is pretty cool. Then we go to another work truck. This one has been sent in by Mark Piper. Mark is living proof that stuff gets out of hand really, really quickly. Mark has built a Dodge Power Wagon, and Mark has not been in the hobby that long. Mark has only started being into RC in September of 2020, and seeing that he built this that quickly is amazing in itself, but it also shows that there's so much to do, and there's so much to learn, and there's so much to really get into once you really deep dive into RC. This thing is combined brazing, it is combined scratch building, but also 3D printing. So Mark, after finishing the majority of his work truck, he also decided that he wanted to get into 3D printing, and he also decided that he wanted to get into designing. So he downloaded Fusion 360. He has been designing some of his own parts as well. And this thing features full dashboard, a grille, you name it, a radiator, windshield wipers, some bed accessories. It's just really impressive to see how far Mark has come in such a short time. This thing, not surprisingly, has won Showman Shine a couple of times, and despite that, he is not keeping it as a shelf queen. This started out as an Axial SCX-10 2 raw builder's kit with some different frame rails. And seeing that Mark has taken it to this level, I think is extremely impressive. Also, so many functional parts on this build with front and rear winches. Just really cool. The spec list on it is almost endless. And I think it really shows that Mark has put in a ton of effort just to make this thing stand out from the crowd. Next on the list of honorable mentions is another military truck. This one is sent in by Jeremy Kilburn. This truck started out as a body on a TRX4 Sport, so on a Traxxas chassis, and it got converted to an Element RC Sendero with the independent front suspension kit and the Gatekeeper rear suspension. This is an MATV, and it is printed in carbon nylon. It looks absolutely great, very coherent build. Not just the body itself is printed, the bed is also printed, the Pelican cases are printed, and Jeremy has even printed a 10 scale soldier to pose alongside the truck in some of those scaled pictures. I know that Jeremy is a service member himself. Seeing that he put this amount of detail into his truck, into his MATV, I think is great. Jeremy also proves that 3D printed bodies can be very durable. This truck got used for a tribute run which Jeremy did at the end of May of this year in honor of those who served in Vietnam, and it passed with flying colors. So that is, I think, a testament to the quality and to the level of durability that we're at currently with 3D printing. Thanks so much for showing this, Jeremy. Next on the list, we have Pierre Maillard. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correct. Pierre has made a truck that would not look out of place in a Mad Max movie, while it isn't an official or an officially inspired Mad Max truck. So he really goes to show that some creativity can go a really long way. This truck is based on a 1/12 scale Funtech Crawler CR12, and he printed a ton of stuff with a regular 3D printer. He also printed some stuff using a resin printer, which I think is really interesting, which is also something that we will look into in the future and dive into a bit, because it is really interesting technology. The list of parts that Pierre has used is extensive. It is not just a truck bed, a truck body, but also, for example, the window mesh, some functional parts like, for example, extended body posts, you name it, battery holders, military crates, sand ladders, oil bottles, oil barrels, you name it, and it is there. Roof racks. So there's a ton of 3D printed stuff here. Everything is detailed using an airbrush, and the way that it turned out is really unique, really great looking. There's LEDs in there. There's even a HemiStorm logo on the doors, which is of course really cool. Bottles on the roof. Yeah, a fantastic amount of detail, and you can just tell that there's been a lot of work and effort that's been put into this truck. The body is a Z IL157, if I got that right. This is a truck that I've seen entered a couple of times. Really popular body to 3D print. Again, you know, if you want to print something and you have a specific chassis, do size it up correctly so it fits your purpose, and then go ahead and do whatever it is that you need to do. Then we go to a farm truck. This farm truck is sent in by Robert Pezza. Robert is an extremely skilled photographer. That's really what caught my eye. Also, of course, the 3D printed stuff. But seeing how this truck is finished and how he captured it is really, well, almost like in a league of its own. It's like mixed media. There's even some wood going on. So this is a wooden bed farm truck. It even has a wooden front bumper, which I think is really cool. All of that is real wood. He 3D printed the radiator that sits in the front. He also 3D printed all of the stuff that you see in the bed. So there's some concrete blocks, some rusty old pipes, old gas bottle, an old oil barrel. It almost looks like this would be better served being a static model than an RC truck. There's just that much detail going on, and it's such a pleasure, I'd say, to look at it. I'm thinking that the body, although it isn't specified, this must be an RC four-wheel drive body, or it could be a Tamiya body. It is a Hilux. Really cool looking, really nice weathering again as well. The frame rails kind of look like an RC four-wheel drive. So I'm not sure, you know, perhaps you know, and you can let me know in the comments. My money is on this being a Trailfinder 2 with some really extensive modification and a ton of rust being poured over it in order to make it look like something that is covered in cow dung and sits on the farm. Next up, an honorable mention, just because I want to show how far this whole 3D printing thing can be taken, is Mr. Paul M, or Pavel Mironov, if I pronounce that correct. Again, you know, don't slay me if I don't. Paul has done a really great job in printing a couple of Dakar trucks. These trucks, you can actually find files to these on MyMiniFactory.com. It is not just the truck body that he has printed and designed, but also the entire truck chassis, all the way down to the gears, all the way down to the drive shafts. This is an insane amount of work and an insane amount of detail. It also goes to show, I think, how much you can actually do using a 3D printer, because this is basically start to finish. Everything has been done on a 3D printer. For this reason as well, I did not want to keep this from you and really put it in there as an honorable mention. These Dakar trucks, these are really awesome to look at, especially if you dial the suspension in correctly and you see them blasting around over some uneven terrain. Of course, you are completely at liberty to set this up how you want, seeing that you can scratch build basically your entire chassis using a 3D printer and some of the files that Paul has up for sale. He even prints the stickers, so you can basically get a full build package up on MyMiniFactory if you look at Pavel's page. I will make sure that there's a link to his web store, his MyMiniFactory store, in the video description box, so you can check it out for yourself and see in some greater detail what these trucks are about, because I think that they look really cool. Now, this week's last entry on our list of honorable mentions is a Jurassic Park truck entered by Marc-Andre Couture. He has done a great job. This is a UMG, so this is based on an SCX-10 version 3. Mark has used the SCX-10 version 2 UMG 6x6 body on there. He has also put the Night Customs grill on there. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the UMG body as it is, seeing that it is not licensed. That one has like a half tombstone type of a headlight. Night Customs fixed that, really turned it into a Mercedes-like Unimog, like round headlight. That's also what Mark put on there. He has also done a ton of TIG welding, and there is a belly skid plate filament printed just for some additional protection. He designed that one himself. Really great. The TIG welding also really nicely executed. And then I think the wheels and tires wrap it up nicely, really turn this into a Jurassic Park truck that really would not look out of place at all in yet another sequel of the franchise, which I hope they come out with because I'm a big fan of the movies. Thanks so much for showing this, Mark. If you want to know more about Mark's work, I will make sure that there's a link to his Instagram in the video description box, so you can check it out for yourself, see what he's up to. That brings us to this week's winner. This week's winner is not the overall winner, but this is the winner of the second prize. Last week we did third prize. This week we do second prize. Next week, of course, we do the first prize. The second place winner will get a Snapmaker intermediate set, which is a Snapmaker 2.0 A350 plus the enclosure, plus the emergency stop button, plus 5 spools of PLA filament. That is 2.5 kilos, which is $3,000 worth of gear. And I think that this winner is actually going to need it because, judging by his story, his current printer is completely worn out. William Marica has entered his father's work truck, or at least a scale replica of his father's work truck. He started 3D printing last year. Since then, he has 3D printed 4 full truck bodies, over 800 hours of printing he has on his current printer. And he has, I think, a really touching, also great story and a fantastically executed truck. Let's go have a look at it. Using his 3D printer, Bill has created a replica of basically a childhood memory, which I think is fantastic, and it really goes to show that we can now do stuff using 3D printing that perhaps we haven't been able to do before. So what Bill has done is he has downloaded that truck body, but he has also designed a ton of his own stuff. Except for the tires, everything is 3D printed. The welding trailer is all 3D printed. The welder is a 1920s era Lincoln welder powered by a 1936 Chevy truck engine. This is cobbled together by his father from what he could find, and he tried to replicate that. Stuff in the box is all 3D printed, and he used Shaper to design all of his own parts except for the truck body. So everything on that portable welder, of course it's such a mix match of parts, he needed to design that himself. And seeing that he managed to make basically a childhood memory, visualize it and create it and make it into something usable as well, I think is, well, really next level. It really struck a chord with me, and I think that he did a great job, not just, of course, on designing and printing it, but also on detailing it. If you look inside the bed of that 1960s Chevy truck, you will also see that the inside of the bed is all grimy, so I can imagine that his dad was doing work throughout the week, and then weekend come, he would give the outside of the truck a good wash, take the family out fishing. This is really what a work truck looks like. It's all shiny on the outside, and as soon as you open one of the doors in the back of where the working action happens, it is basically a shit show. So that's a great representation done in 10 scale over here by Bill. Bill, congrats so much with your Snapmaker 2.0 A350 with the enclosure and the filament. I really hope that you will have a ton of fun using it. I know that I'm having a ton of fun with mine. It has proven itself to be a really great tool in making stuff for all of my RC trucks, smaller and bigger. And I hope to see many more of your fantastic creations. Thanks so much for sharing all these fantastic pictures. Thank you so much to everybody who has entered this competition. Stay tuned next week to see who won first prize. That, of course, is a big drum roll. We will also look at some outdoor adventure rides next week. I think that will be sort of the theme. So we're going to look at some camping, at some trailers, stuff like that. See what you guys have entered, see what you came up with. Do just like this week and just like last week, a couple of honorable mentions, counting down to the winner. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I know they're a bit out of the norm for me, perhaps, but I just want to change it up a tiny bit with the content. I think mixing in a competition here and there is really great. It's a lot of fun. I want to thank MyMiniFactory.com so much for enabling this competition. Also Snapmaker for making the prizes available and for supplying me with a fantastic printer, an incredible tool for my RC needs. Go check out links to MyMiniFactory and Snapmaker in the video description box. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button before you leave. If you have not subscribed yet, I know that a lot of people watch these videos and they are not subscribed. It is free, so don't hesitate to push the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you get notifications when I release a new video. Much appreciated. And if you want to have any links to my other social media, Instagram or Facebook, go check out the links in the video description. Thanks so much. Again, Bill, congratulations with your printer. I hope you will enjoy it, and I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Back on.